And welcome back to Hot and Cold Podcast. We have a very special episode for you today. It is February 8th on a Tuesday. Remember, we're doing Tuesdays and Fridays, and somehow we are still on schedule, which is an awesome thing. But we're recording pretty early in the morning. This is one of the earliest we've ever recorded, right, Connor?
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah, it's
We
very
usually
new.
don't willingly record at about 9:30.
Yeah, it's something weird that we're doing, but hey, we're keeping up with it, and I love that we're on a schedule now. But Connor, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. Coming off a disappointing loss, but
Yeah.
got some really good seats for that game. Bryson and I got to sit on the floor. Actually, partially going to take blame for the loss. We were sitting in the first row of the bleachers in the lower level, and then in the second half, we switched to the chairs on the floor. Someone was nice enough to let us sit there while they were in the 1976 club in Assembly Hall, and that's when Indiana could make a basket. So
There's something to that. I think we're both pretty superstitious people.
100%.
There's something to if you're playing a team that's maybe better than you, and you probably shouldn't be up. I know IU was favored in that game, correct? Or maybe the line changed.
It by the start of the game, Illinois, it had shifted to Illinois, which
Okay,
was like a
so
4-point swing.
there's something to being the dog, and when you're up in a game, you can't really change where you're watching it. I've
It,
learned that the hard way before.
it was a unique opportunity that even my superstitions could not
Oh,
prevent me from
100%.
doing.
100%. You're sitting on like court side. Yeah, you can't just pass that up. So
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. We'll touch on that game in a second, but first, there was a big story that came out yesterday, and I don't want to talk about it too much because we've been talking about this story ad nauseum. Shaedon Sharpe, Cal comes out on his Twitter account and says, "We are not going to play Shaedon Sharpe this year." He said he talked to his family, and they both agreed that that would not be the best idea. And the most important part of the tweet that you can take how you want. Obviously, you can't take anything for certain. You can't say it's a 100% thing. He said that he is going to prepare to lead us for next season. Now, everybody knows that he's eligible for the draft after this season. So I'm just curious, what do you? I've heard Cal say a lot of things, some of which have not been true. But I just want to hear what you think after he comes out and gives that report.
I think it was pretty clear that he wasn't going to play,
Yeah.
and he just had no interest in playing him. Like it never in any presser that he did, there was nothing that indicated that he ever planned on playing him this year, barring like serious injuries to someone. But even then, I still don't think he was going to go in. I don't know what's going to happen. I think Torres summed it up best about the situation of this team has a lot of chemistry. Don't want to mess with that. There was really nothing to gain from it. Like, I don't think he moves the needle just because so many people have to get the ball on this team, and adding him in may seem like it would move the needle, but he needs the ball in his hands to make things happen. And I just don't think that was necessarily going to be the case this year, because you don't want to take the ball away from Severe, Ty, or anybody else. So there was really nothing to gain, a lot to lose if he messes things up. I don't know if he stays or not. If he stays, then it's all going to be fine. I know if he leaves, Kentucky fans will be
not
upset.
be happy. Yeah.
At the same, I feel like there should be a level of understanding on if he does leave. It still is better that he didn't play this year. I get being frustrated about next year,
Mhm.
I feel like some Kentucky fans are probably going to be upset that he didn't play this year. And I just think it just wouldn't have worked.
It's just the idea of getting a kid to commit, getting a kid to sign, getting him actually on campus, the number one player in America, and him never touching the court. Like
Yeah.
that idea would, it would cause a lot of conflict within BBN. But look, you can't. I hope people don't do this. You can't blame the kid if he decides to leave, and I feel like a lot of that will
No.
happen, and that will be very bad.
Just how on earth could anyone like imagine that you are instead of risking it next year, an injury or something, turning down that much money and a guaranteed spot on an NBA team.
Mm.
And like we've talked about it before, I think on Bleacher Report, he's slotted to go 7th. I don't know who's going to have the 7th pick, the lottery, everything.
Right.
Can't tell who's going to be where, but going 7th, you get a lot of money and it's potentially a better team, better situation. Like he's going to be talking to teams that are interested in him. And it's not like it's going to be Detroit even though that's not as bad as it used to be, or somebody. Look at Golden State, like we've talked about, they got 2 picks in the lottery. I think Kuminga and Moses Moody are very happy that they're in Golden State now competing for a title. So there's this thing that could happen if he isn't the top pick, which that's going to be the argument, I think, from Kentucky fans we've talked about. That's the point you brought up, that he could be the top pick. Well, that's all great, and he could make a lot of money up front. If his development isn't where it needs to be in this team and he doesn't go to a team that he likes. I mean, even Toronto had the top 4 pick and they got Scotty Barnes.
Right.
And now they're competing for a playoff spot. And I would much rather be in Toronto. Their development is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to come down to the situation. I think he's probably going to hear from teams that are interested in him. And if he thinks that's a place where he could develop and sign a bunch of max deals later in his career, then maybe he goes. And if not, then he's going to come back and be a part of a really good class. So
yeah, it'll be interesting because I mean, there's people, involved around him that a lot of Kentucky reporters are talking to. And from what they say, look, they could be telling the truth, but it kind of sounds like they're giving us a little bit of just like fantasy, because I mean, Jack Pilgrim heard from I think it was his coach in AAU or something, that was one of the ones that helped facilitate this move, this reclassification. But he said, no, Shaedon Sharpe has no intentions of even declaring for the draft without an agent, even testing the waters. He said that the plan all along has been for him to play for Kentucky next year, which, look, I would be
wouldn't that be
very
a
surprised.
mistake? I feel like even Cal would say, dude, go. Like,
his argument was he knows where he's a top 5 pick already, so he doesn't need to go to the. I don't know, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
that. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like he would be doing himself a disservice if he didn't.
Yeah.
Because he would have better, and like he would have the better combine than a lot of those guys. Like he would have the better physicals than like all of the guards, like Johnny Davis, Shaedon Ivey. I think he would have a better physical than all of them. So
Cal is in the business of getting players to the draft. I know part of Cal would just be like, hey, I still get credit for this guy. I mean, technically, that's Torres talks about it on the last show that, Cal's got that he takes pride in having his guys go. So I feel like he should go. Like he needs to know what he can do better. I get it, he's top 5 pick, whatever, but he still don't want to get any better. Maybe sounds like he's
that's not what Shaedon Sharpe said. That's what that guy said.
Yeah.
I think he was just kind of talking him up. I don't think Shaedon Sharpe is that Amoni Bates like cocky like that, but
Got a
he's a
sounds
pretty
like he's got a
humble,
good inner
pretty humble
circle
guy.
here.
But we'll see what happens. I'm not going to worry about it anymore because we have a damn good team in front of us. But let's go back to this weekend. A lot of things happened. We previewed it. We didn't do too bad in our predictions, except I picked 2 games wrongly. And I think how many games did we do? Like 5 or 4. I picked 2
I
of
think we
them
did
very
4.
wrongly. I was off on the Yukon. Yeah, 4. I was off on Yukon and IU.
So I only missed 1, and it was a
Yeah.
biased pick. So
Yeah.
3
No, it
and 0
happens.
technically. I feel like you shouldn't count your own game, right? Like you
Okay.
shouldn't count the Kentucky game for you. You shouldn't count IU for me. So
Then I'm
I'm
1-2.
yeah, then I'm 3-0. I'm feeling good.
So let's talk about, let's not waste too much time on everything else because we have a lot of stuff to get to. So let's just talk about our teams. So Indiana hosts Illinois and they blow a halftime lead. It wasn't a crazy lead, but they come out flat in the second half. Trent Frazier goes crazy. Kofi Coburn dominates in the second half, and they lose to Illinois. Since it's your team, I'm going to kind of let you. We talked about this game on the in a party, but I'm going to kind of let you describe your feelings of the game, what happened, what were Illinois' keys to winning this game.
Yeah. So, like I said, Illinois, Michigan, and Purdue right now are just not good matchups. They're one of like 3 teams in the country that have players that just cause Trace issues. And they have since Trace has been here. Hunter Dickinson has caused serious problems for him. Kofi, Travion Williams, and Zach. I mean, it's just they are taller. They're 7-footers, and they're bigger than he is. And they've caused Indiana problems. I mean, they brought in Michael Durr to kind of combat that they are bigger than the other players on the team, and it worked against Purdue to a certain degree. But Illinois shot better than Purdue this time because, Stefanovic did not shoot the ball well. I mean, they still had Ivy, but there was that other shooting element that Purdue didn't have that Illinois did have. Also, Indiana didn't have a Rob Finney type of game. Even Xavier Johnson didn't score as much as he did in the Purdue game. I just thought the offense was dragging on in the second half. There wasn't a lot of 3-point shooting. It just couldn't buy a basket. That's all it really was. I mean, it's just a tale of 2 halves. Really, the first half was pretty good. I wouldn't even say it was that great of a first half. It just wasn't a great game.
Right.
I think Illinois is really good. I know it's going to sound like I'm just saying this because they beat Indiana, but I think if you go back and listen to our Big Ten preview way back when, I actually was higher on Illinois than you were at the time.
Well,
I was on the revenge train.
I was on my Illinois hate tour a little bit because Kentucky made an enemy with them, and then they started off really slow, and the storyline kind of died. But
yeah, I mean they're a good team, and everybody's freaking out about it's not going to drop Indiana in the tournament projections. I mean they're still like a 7 seed. I mean they lost to the number 1 team in the conference. Yeah, it's at home. It looks worse than it could have been, but you just got to move on. You can't let it snowball into more games. I mean, they've got 4 straight quad 1 games the rest of the month. So they just need to put that one behind them and move on. So,
yeah, I think the most important thing is momentum here because look, you can't expect to win all of these games. Like you beat Purdue at home, which is a great win, and you're probably more likely than not you're going to pick up probably another impressive home win somewhere on the schedule. I haven't looked at it, but I'm just assuming with how they play at home. So this isn't a loss that's going to tank your resume probably at all. You're probably not even going to move down on the seed line whatsoever. It's just the momentum of the loss. And if Illinois showed a hole in the roster, that other teams are going to exploit. We'll see what happens. I don't think it was that important, but I do want to say I became enemy number one in the student section.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I became enemy number one in the student section because I was with Brant, our friend Brant, and there was a play where Kofi Coburn blocked Trace Jackson Davis, what seemed like out of the gym. Then he gets the ball on the other end, and won against Trace. So I did look at Brant, and I did say, I did say that's your player of the year, and I got a lot of weird looks.
I imagine you did.
Yeah, well, you win some, you lose some. It was pretty fun, but kind of moving on. I don't want to harp too much on this game. Kentucky beats Alabama. Holds them to 55 points on their home gym, and it is absolutely not how this game was going to go. How I thought this game was going to go. I thought it was going to be a track meet. I thought it was going to be high scoring. I thought Kentucky would have to keep up with them, and that's why I was a little bit worried that Alabama would be high octane in this game. They were not. They shot actually worse than any team has shot since 2010. 3 of 30, I believe. And Kentucky was able to kind of muck up the game a little bit, make it a physical, grueling game, and they ended up winning in the half court. So it was a fun game to watch because I tweeted it on Hot and Cold. Kentucky has the ability to win in every way possible, kind of how I was describing UCLA, and I think that is something that you really need if you want to win a championship.
Yeah, picking this game, I actually made a parlay on Saturday that ended up not hitting, unfortunately. But Kentucky was in it. I partially was hedging that, but also just thought that Alabama was kind of fraudulent. I think Kentucky just provided so many mismatches to them. I thought Oscar would dominate. He actually didn't really dominate. But I really thought he was going to have a good game. But I just don't think that Alabama is for real. I mean, it's just so hard to look at those losses and not think they're kind of fraudulent. So still a decent team. They're not bad. True. I think that we talked about they'll probably make the tournament with like a decent amount of losses.
They're a 5 seed right now.
It's insane.
I don't get it. I don't get look, I get their resume is their wins are so good, but I don't know. I at least think they'd be an 8 or a 9 seed. I guess they're not a bad team. They're when they're on, they're very good. They're almost elite. Like their ceiling is that high, but it just doesn't make much sense to have them as a 5-4 seed because I can see them getting beat by 20 by that 13 or 12 seed.
I would say the 5-12 right there. I mean, that is just a pencil that one in. It's like the Florida State last year, everybody picking them to like Alabama getting upset. Like mentally, I've already made up my mind that is just an automatic upset that I'm going to have in my bracket just to make sure that I don't have the higher seed winning in the first round every game.
See, I've been doing that for a lot of teams already. Like Providence, I'm already decided I'm picking against. Alabama, I would probably pick against, but I don't know because they could go on a run. But I'm probably picking against, and Michigan State definitely.
Really?
I'm picking against Michigan State in the first round.
They're probably going to be like a 3 seed.
I've watched that Rutgers game, and I'm still not impressed by the Michigan State whatsoever. I just can't be.
Against Purdue. I mean, Rutgers. Come on, we know Rutgers isn't easy to play. that's a hard place to play.
That's true. It's true, but laying 20 on the Spartans was not easy to watch.
I wouldn't get now. If Indiana beats them on the road, then I'm picking against them too because that's pretty embarrassing.
So last night, so after the weekend, there was a lot of good games this weekend, but then last night was an interesting night. I'm not saying it was a good day of basketball. There was probably 3 games worth watching. But it started off at Duke. The Duke Blue Devils host Virginia. And I feel like this happens annually. Their annual loss to Virginia that no one expects. It happens. Somehow they don't guard the 3. Somehow that last possession that ended up in a tie-up, the fact that Theo John got tied up by a point guard, one of the strongest dudes in America, they call him he's like the Steven Adams of college basketball, and he gets tied up with a point guard, with a tidy point guard.
Yeah,
it was very funny to watch. AJ Griffin had one of the worst plus minuses, I think, all time. Let me get the exact stat. It was an crazy night.
Tale of 2 games for him.
Yeah,
just really couldn't buy a basket, and then against North Carolina, literally, people were calling him prime MJ out there. Couldn't miss. Look, I don't want to start believing in Virginia, but it's Tony. It's Tony Bennett, man. I think they're going to sneak into the tournament,
dude. I look after that game. Nothing changes my mind about Virginia. That was about as fluky as it gets. No, they're not going to make the tournament.
Really?
No.
I think they get in.
You think they get in just from this?
I do. Well, I mean, they're what, 15-9, 14-9, maybe.
Yeah, I don't even think they were on the bubble before, though. Were they?
I can look up their net in a second. I mean, they're 15-9. They don't have a terrible stretch left. They get to play Georgia Tech at home. They go to Virginia Tech. That's probably a win. They play Miami on the road. That's going to be a tough one. You get Duke at home, and then Florida State at home. I mean, they're probably going to end up with 20, 21 wins, I would say. And I don't know. They're a game back to win the ACC all of a sudden.
Dude, they're the most
Tony Bennett's going to have this
on earth.
I know you're biased against them because they're boring.
Yes, they're not a fun team to watch.
It is a way to win games, unfortunately.
Not that they've sucked this year. Like, I don't think you understand. They've sucked.
They have not been good, but they are a team that could easily, like, their net is not good. Ken Pom not good. Even strength of schedule is not good because the ACC is so terrible. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. They beat Duke, so I think that's going to help their resume, and that's that signature win. And it's kind of, we talk about the Trae Young effect on getting Oklahoma in the tournament. This is the Tony Bennett effect. They'll put Tony Bennett in the tournament over a mid-major that nobody knows about.
I was going to say something absolutely horrendously bad. But then I remembered Tony Bennett won a championship that one-off year, and then I was like, fine, whatever. Well, they haven't really done anything. Like, besides that, he's lucky he won that because they usually get to the tournament and flame out early as like a 1 seed. So he's lucky he won that one because that's going to last him years and years and years. But I mean, look,
he's had it down. The recruiting classes he's had haven't been great. but he's
Hmm.
got some good players coming in next year, if I'm not mistaken. He's got a couple guards coming in. So
I don't
I
even
don't
know.
know.
Like, they didn't play well. Like, neither team played good at all
They
last
really
night.
need Armand to get going as a scorer.
Four of
If he can,
13 from the field, 1 of 6 from three.
he just hasn't been good from. I mean, he's shooting like 40%, 27. He's back. He's back to what he was his freshman year at IU. He's just not scoring the ball efficiently. If he starts to score the ball efficiently, then they've got that scorer, and I don't know.
It is funny that Virginia can shoot 17% from three and win at Cameron Indoor.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Holding Paulo to 9, AJ Griffin to 2. Wendell Moore, remember when everybody was saying he's the most improved, he's awesome, 9, 3 of 8, 1 of 5 from 3. Man, that I think Duke is maybe the most overrated team in the country.
Oh, come on.
I think they're maybe the most overrated team in the country.
That's come on now.
How can you not be destroying that conference? How can you not be like
We just
undefeated
talked
in
about
that
it though.
conference?
We expected a Virginia, like it's just expected. Like it's just a
I did call
loss.
it at the beginning of the year. I
A
did call it at the
scheduled
beginning of the year.
loss.
It was a scheduled loss.
Scheduled.
I called it at the beginning, but that's not even what I'm most upset. Like when they lose to Miami at home, what other losses did they take in conference? They have 3 conference losses. So you drop to Miami at home, and then you drop to Florida State at overtime. That's excusable.
There's really only. I mean, Miami's not bad either.
They're not
They have
bad.
they have legitimately, their losses have been epic failures and collapses at the end of the game. That's really all it is. Like they should have won all these games.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about them.
So that means shout out PFT. That means it's the coaching.
No,
It's not the coaching. Okay.
no.
Okay. Moving on.
They're pretty young team. You're just gonna hit some bumps in the road. That's how it works.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Kansas at Texas. Look, we didn't touch on Kansas this weekend, but they did go out and they buried Baylor by 30 points. So it's not something to just look over. They were hungry after that Kentucky loss. So
Did we not touch on the? I thought we did touch on the Kansas game.
we previewed it. We didn't we didn't recap it. I just talked about.
Oh, I thought you
Indiana,
meant. Oh, okay,
Kentucky.
I got you. Yeah.
But yeah, that you hate to be Baylor in that spot after Kansas loses that game to Kentucky. Beat them by 30, whatever, keep it moving. And then they run into Texas on the road. Texas was looking for this win. Texas was a team that has played poorly all year. They don't really have that signature win. Every game they play, even if they win, it's like they play so much worse than they could. Even in this one, they didn't play great. Like they didn't shoot well at all. There was one guy who shot well for them, and it was Timmy Allen. And they just played so bad all year, and then finally Kansas gets there, and they win. They do it. And you said it before, when you're looking at these stats, they make no sense. Kansas shot 60% from the field, almost 40% from 3, and they
Turnovers.
lose. There you go. There you
Turnovers.
go.
I mean, I watched the end of this game, and Texas banks in a 3, down 4 with a minute left, for a guy that was 0 of 5 before that.
Right.
Kansas goes down. Great play, getting Agbaji downhill. Gets help from the center, lobs it up to McCormick, and the ball hits the rim. And then Texas rebounds, goes down, scores, and they end up winning the game. I would not be worried if I was a Kansas fan. Again, Texas rushed the floor after this game.
Weird.
I don't.
Weird.
Like, I don't really understand that. Like, they've beaten Kansas like recently, haven't like it's not like it's
They
been
beat him like multiple times last year, I believe.
like it hasn't been a long time. Like, I don't they're
No, no,
not
no, 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 no.
I don't know. Very weird. But I don't think Texas is I don't feel any differently about them. Marcus Carr is still the inefficient point guard that he always has been and always will be.
Yeah.
Um, the one thing I will say, Courtney Ramey did a great job defending Agbaji. Really didn't get going, and I think that's the one thing you can kind of point out that Kansas somewhat struggled. And other than that, they just didn't shoot the free throw. They didn't shoot their free throws as well as they could have, and they turned the ball over. Shoot 60% in a game, you're probably going to win 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Look, I kind of have that same kind of thought process on this team, Texas. It doesn't really help. It doesn't help me at all when, this game, I think the exact same way because you have the 4 guys playing 10 or less minutes in that game last night. Texas just has too many guys. I get Chris Beard brought in a great roster. They have so many guys though that nobody can ever get going. And like they brought in Devin Askew, who is quickly becoming the same person he was with Kentucky, which is very scary. And then Andrew Jones, the guy that, probably should be your star, is coming off your bench, 18 minutes, not having a good year whatsoever. 0-5 from the 3. Dessou, 6 minutes. Let's see. Yeah, Febres, 8 minutes. And then you start Cunningham, and he gets 7. Chris Beard doesn't know what to do with this rotation. I'm not blaming it on him. These players are just it's a mixed max
Again,
group of people, and I should have seen that before the year.
the volatility of the portal,
Mm-hmm.
it is very hit or miss, and especially when you go all in,
Yeah,
basically, it's just not. I don't think it's a formula for success. I think the formula you have to have a solid recruiting class, and then bring in a transfer or two every year. Like, you can't just go all in. I've never been a believer. I think Chris Beard is a good coach. He's taken a lot of heat recently, just struggling in
it
Texas.
happens.
But
Yeah,
I think that, again, he's there his first year. He has to retain the roster, and I don't know if the portal, which he's been in the portal from the beginning.
yeah.
But then those guys stay in their upper class, like they stay multiple years. Like, this is just a weird situation for him.
No, it's true, and it'll be like I'm sure years come, years go. I think he'll have some good rosters, some really good seasons with Texas. I don't think this is going to be Shaka Smart 2.0. I don't think he'll fail in this job. I just don't think that's the person he is. He's a great coach. But yeah, I kind of wanted to touch on that. Big 12 is weird. I think they're a lot less deep than I thought they were a couple weeks ago. I think it's really just Kansas and Texas Tech. If I had to say that, maybe I'm wrong. What do you think?
I'm not a big believer in Baylor either.
Yeah,
I mean, they're a good team. It depends on what you're talking about as far as being a deep conference. Like, you saying, like,
who can
tournament
make
team,
what
tournament
teams
run.
can make a tournament run?
Okay. I don't think Baylor's in there.
No, me neither. I don't see Texas making a tournament run. I don't think they can have
I don't either. Yeah, it's
enough
just those
guys
two.
playing well.
It's just
At the
and I
same
don't even know
time.
if Texas Tech can make a run, just because. I mean, I
think
know
they can.
their defense is going to have to do it for them, and you worry about that in the tournament if a team gets hot.
Well,
They probably can.
When you have Texas Tech, like I'm not going to harp too much on Texas Tech, but when you have a guy who can wide it up, even one guy who can kind of lead your offense in Bryson Williams, who's been great for them this year, that's huge in the
Good
tournament.
offensive players. I don't
They have good
understand how their
offensive
offense really
players.
isn't good. Like, they have Shannon, they have O'Banner. Like I don't get how their offense is as low ranked as it is.
They
It
take
shouldn't
some
be that
they
bad.
take some bad shots. Let's
Oh,
be
I know.
real. That's their major Achilles heel is how bad of shots they take down the stretch in a close game. That might catch up to them. But
Yeah,
we're playing blind resumes again.
absolutely.
All right.
I'm gonna
And
I'm
this
gonna
time, Connor's
it's
giving them to me.
it's gonna be fun. I think you're gonna enjoy this.
So
Um,
Connor is going to give me a set of stats. Did you do 3 matchups?
yep.
Connor is going to give me a set of stats, and it's a blind matchup, 2 teams for each. He's going to give me what stats are you giving me?
I'm gonna give you in this order: net, then Ken Palm, strength of schedule, adjusted offensive rating, and then adjusted defensive rating from Ken Palm. And I'll give the head-to-head record if they have it.
Okay, let's do this.
Only the first matchup has it. So,
Okay.
first team in the first matchup has a net rating of 6, a Ken Palm of 10, strength of schedule 4. They have the 4th best offensive rating and the 25th best defensive rating. They are
Okay.
0-1.
Hmm.
The second team has a net of 14, a Ken Palm of 12, strength of schedule is 56. The offensive rating is 21st, and the defensive rating is 13th. And obviously, they're 1-0.
Okay, so looking, can I get a home or away or neutral or? Oh, that would that give it away?
No,
Okay.
I just don't.
Okay.
I just
No,
totally blind resume here.
this is totally blind. Okay. So if I had to guess, what I'm not going to guess which teams these are because I honestly have no idea. But everything is telling me to pick the team on the top. Except that head-to-head matchup. That's why I wanted to know if it's neutral
Seems like it's
home.
just a fluky loss, huh?
Oh boy. It does. It does. Like they are up in every single category. Um okay, yeah, give me team 1.
These two teams. Team 1 is Villanova. Team 2 is UCLA.
Okay. See, I should have known. Kim Palm and Net are in love with Villanova. In
Yeah.
love with Villanova.
Strength of schedule, too. I mean, they've.
Yeah, strength of schedule is huge. Like that, look, you need to think about that when you're asking yourself, why is Villanova ranked in the top 15 with 6 losses?
Yeah.
Their strength of schedule is out of this world. I mean, they started off the year playing Purdue, UCLA. They played some other teams out of conference, but they lost all of them. They lost all of them, so it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The metrics love them. That's the kind of the yin and yang you get with these advanced stats. They're loved by them. I should have went with my gut and went head to head. Should have went with my gut. Regular schedule makes a lot more sense on UCLA.
I tricked you there a little bit.
Oh, you did. You did.
Tried to tell you it was a fluky loss when it definitely was maybe not. Maybe it was. I don't know. Be an interesting,
Okay, that was interesting.
rematch.
That's very interesting because you think if Villanova, you think if they play UCLA again, you think they win?
I do. No, I don't. No, I don't. Well, I don't know. UCLA is a weird team now. Like everybody thought top 5 good.
Yeah.
Team is kind of regained the form from last year. And then now they've lost 2 in a row. And everybody's like, oh, maybe they're not back yet. I don't know. It's a long season and there's ebbs and flows. And we'll see if they can turn it around and kind of get some momentum going.
That does suck because I'm more out on Villanova than anybody has ever been out on Villanova. It's something beyond these metrics. The metrics are obsessed with them. It's crazy, but they are obsessed with Villanova. And it's just eye test when you don't have a big man, you don't have a reliable big man. You are kind of playing, I don't really think they're the best team in the conference right now. And you're kind of like, and you're not even the best in the Big East. Like, I'm out. But the metrics do love them. We'll see how that kind of translates to March because they have maybe the best coach in the country right now. And we'll see because if he can make anything out of this roster, or if anybody can make anything out of this roster, he can. So, okay, let's go to the next one.
All right, the second matchup, first team. Net is 20. The KenPom is 17. The strength of schedule is 61. The offensive rating is 60th. And the defensive rating is 16th. The second team, the net rating is 37. KenPom 28. Strength of schedule 30. And then offensive rating 57th. Defensive rating 29th.
This bottom team sucks. I'm not liking this bottom team's metrics at all. I'm making a very I'm going out on a whim on this bottom team, and it's gonna come back to bite me in the ass. I don't like it at all. Like their strength of schedule is high, but it's not extremely high. Their net is really bad. Their offense isn't good. They don't really have a redeeming defense from the metrics. Give me these teams. Give me team one, first of all. But
so you are taking St. Mary's over Arkansas.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, we can talk about it. Let's talk about it.
St. Mary's, they are ranked.
Mm-hmm.
They are ranked right now, which technically, according to the AP, they are the better team.
Yeah.
But you're taking St. Mary's over Arkansas.
Arkansas is weird. Arkansas has the same deal as Texas. Look, they're hot right now.
8 in a row.
8 in a row right now. They're maybe the hottest team in the country. They haven't played anybody, but it's been a quiet 8 in a row. They play Auburn tonight.
Yeah.
But they are just they're gross to watch. Like their roster isn't they haven't been playing well. They're not cohesive really at all. Chris Likes hasn't been good this year. Like I get why the metrics hate them. Obviously, eye test, I'm picking them over St. Mary's. No offense to St. Mary's eye test, but St. Mary's has been playing out of their mind. The West Coast Conference is looking a lot better than maybe they actually are.
Yeah.
They're probably going to get 4 teams in easily. So I get it. But, let's see. Maybe St. Mary's will give Gonzaga a game. Do they play again?
I'm not sure on that. Let's see. St. Mary's plays Santa Clara tonight. They play Gonzaga on the 12th.
At Gonzaga.
They should play Gonzaga twice. They play them twice this month. So, man, they get all. I didn't realize the West Coast Conference gets all of March off. I mean, I would say their conference tournament. They have no games in March.
No, their conference tournament starts very early.
Like the Big 12s. Big 12 has 3 games in March. I think the Big 10 has at least 2 or 3.
Yeah.
ACC only has 1. So I always find that interesting at the end of the year.
Does the Big 10 start early this year, or are they on the same schedule as
relatively the same?
Okay.
Just not in the earlier. All right, the last matchup.
Damn, give me St. Mary's. What the hell?
St. Mary's. Third matchup here. First team, 19th in net, 31st in the KenPom, 19th strength of schedule. They have the 52nd best offensive rating, and they are 36th in defensive rating. Team 2, 16th in net, 16th in KenPom, 13th strength of schedule, 117th in offensive rating,
Oh my God.
but they have the third best defensive rating.
What? The third best defensive rating. So they have the 16th best net with the 117th best offense.
Yep. Defense wins games.
This sounds very Virginia-esque. But Virginia
Virginia's
wouldn't
not
be that
16th.
ranked. They wouldn't be ranked that high, but this is an old school Virginia team.
13th in strength of schedule. It's not, I mean, that would knock out all ACC possibilities.
I can't. I don't know with a straight face if I can pick a team with an offensive rating as low as that. I get they're winning in every other metric, and their defense is incredible. But I can't sit here and say that a team with that bad of an offense can make a run. And this is going to bite me in the ass because I can see the look in your face. This is probably a team I've been in love with. Give me team 1. I just can't do 117th in the nation.
I think you actually made the right choice.
No way.
The first team is Wisconsin.
Okay.
The second team is LSU.
Yeah. LSU's offensive rating is that bad?
Yeah. Yes,
Oh my gosh. They've really taken a turn for the worse after that Kentucky game when they lost a bunch of guys and they came back and they weren't ready to come back, and they've lost, to Ole Miss, to Vandy. They've lost some really bad games. Some very, very, very bad games. And look, they kind of have the same syndrome. They brought in a lot of transfers and it was working early and it hasn't been working lately. So makes sense. Look, Wisconsin, you can tell me if I'm wrong. We haven't really talked about them much. I've never seen a team rely solely on one player in a power conference, like I've seen in mid-major, whatever, than Wisconsin is doing right now. Like,
oh yeah,
it's absurd when you look at the stats, and he's averaging the most in I think every category except rebounds, maybe, or he might be leading in that too.
He honestly might be leading him in rebounds. Let me check. I mean,
but he is going insane.
Again, they have a tough game tonight. They're on the road at Michigan State. They are a weird team. Like, if go back to IU, I mean, IU probably should have beat him. He leads them in every category. Assists, points, rebounds. Averages 8.3 rebounds a game.
Nice.
According to KenPom, one of the luckiest teams.
I'd imagine.
According to their luck rating. I just don't think they're very good. They're third, by the way, in luck rating. Shout out to Providence, still number 1.
Yeah, they'll never drop that.
It's interesting that there isn't really any other teams that have a very good luck rating that are like high on the KenPom.
He really, that's why their KenPom's so low. Like he takes that to heart. Because Providence,
I mean, that's why
Providence
is. I mean, they're low, so
yeah.
There's no other. Man, that's crazy. Honestly,
I know.
There's no team in the top 30 of the net rating that is in. I mean, I'm scrolling down. I have to go all the way down to 46th in luck rating to find a top 30 team.
Yeah,
it's Michigan State. There you go. Sports your Michigan State theory.
So are we doing? Is that the clearest sign of frauds? I think everybody is kind of overlooking that.
Possibly. I mean, there's two teams that I think for sure are not as good as the AP says. Depends on what you really look at, because Wisconsin's ratings aren't that good.
They're not good. I just couldn't take a team that was 117th in the country.
I thought that would. I can't believe LSU's offense is that bad. Like
I can't either.
Yes. I feel like they've got some decent scores on their team, but I guess they don't.
Jeez. But yeah, so no, Wisconsin, look, they're one of those teams that could make a run. I'm not saying they can't just because of Johnny Davis. Like just because of him just going off in the tournament, making a crazy run. He's great. And it's incredible that their team is only him. Like when I was looking back at the previews we made preseason, I think we had like Wisconsin in like the bottom 4 of this conference, which is crazy to think about now. But that's before everybody knew who Johnny Davis was. Like Johnny Davis there was no signs of him being the player he is today, and I think we were fair to put them in the bottom 4 because their roster is not good. Like that is not a good roster at all. And it's just like I saw a graphic. It was the usage rate of players on each and every team. And I think number 1 and 2 with players with the highest usage rate, I think was Wisconsin and Ohio State.
Yep.
In the country. Or at least for Power 5 teams. So that's something to keep an eye on. It's just not it's not a team, it's just that player.
Yeah.
And that can cause for a lot of upsets, but
I mean, Indiana should have beat them.
They should have.
They were absolutely destroying them.
You blew it.
Johnny Davis got going in the second half. Like it's just they're one of those teams. Brad Davison, though, is one of those guys that could get hot on a tournament run as well.
That is true.
And
that is true.
It's not again, if they have to go against a big guy, though, they're in trouble. I don't think that they will manage well in the tournament.
There's a reason Kofi put up 40 and 10 on him.
Yeah. They get matched up with Gonzaga or something. Drew Timme is going to feast on them.
Well, all of those top, 1 seeds, all those, almost all of the 1 and 2 seeds have a really good big man. And I think that's been huge this year. It seems like we're kind of moving away from the big man a little bit, but they're right there. Kentucky has Oscar Tshiebwe, Auburn has Walker Kessler, Gonzaga has Drew Timme, Duke has Paulo and Mark Williams, because they'll probably stay on that 1 or 2 line even after that loss. All of these teams just have really, really good big men, and then there's some that are right outside that just keep dropping games. Like you got Kansas, you got Villanova, Wisconsin probably is going to drop a few down the stretch. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it's
going to beat Wisconsin. They have to. Speaking about Indiana and playing teams they don't usually beat, they do play Northwestern tonight.
Great segue.
Our teams should win tonight, but I
think we're both equally scared. If
you had to guess, what is IU's record at Northwestern in the last 4 games?
At Northwestern. So they lost last year.
No.
Correct? Did they win last year?
Double overtime win.
Okay, yeah. They lost the year before that then. I'm going to say 1 and 3.
They're 1 and 3.
1 and 3, yeah. It sounds about right.
They're barely favored tonight, and people were kind of. I tweeted it yesterday. I was like, "This is a major game. You don't get very many quad 1 opportunities against the team."
Is this a quad 1?
quad one game. Like you can't take that. I mean, their quad one record is not very good.
Mhm.
It's like 2-3, I want to say. So I mean, it's an easy quad one win if you really look at it. Maybe get a Miller Cop revenge game. I don't know. Something to get that guy to do
If he even
anything,
attempts a shot, like
to do anything in the starting lineup to provide any source of offense would be phenomenal. Yeah, I'm not comfortable with the game tonight. Very, very worried the Illinois loss is going to snowball into another one.
so I'm on the opposite side of this. So not to kind of take away from IU, but we can kind of talk about it at the same time. Kentucky's hot. Kentucky's,
They're
one of
gonna
the
be
hot.
fine tonight.
No, they're one of the hottest teams in the country. Kentucky is. So here's my thinking. You remember when we discussed the SEC schedule going into the SEC play? When I said, okay, maybe I can only see maybe like 4 more losses. And I think they've only had 2 more, which has been great. I said that there's going to be a weird road loss that they shouldn't lose, that everybody's just going to, and it's going to hurt us. It's probably, if it came now, it would come at the worst possible time. I thought it was going to be A&M. It wasn't A&M. The only real one I can see happening, there's a couple, but this makes the most amount of sense. Just kind of trap game at South Carolina. I don't like this at all. I wish we didn't have to play this.
I bet Kentucky even covers tonight. They're going to cover.
You think they cover? You think you're going to weigh the points 11 Kentucky?
100%.
You're hedging so bad right now.
South Carolina is terrible.
You're hedging.
Their top scorer shoots 35% from the field.
They suck. And we shouldn't lose. But somebody's going to go off. Somebody's going to go for 30 against us. And we're going to lose in like overtime or something. I'm really scared of that happening. Do I really think we're going to lose? No. But I have this weird mindset going on. Like Indiana should beat Northwestern. I don't know. I don't understand how they're like Vegas can put Northwestern -1 actually in the books and think that's a good bet. But it
Vegas
is.
knows, man. They know.
Vegas knows. I hate this game. I hate playing South Carolina. It happened to us in 2020 when we went to South Carolina. We got beat on a buzzer beater.
It's gonna be a rough night for us. Late start for IU fans. Kentucky's there at 7. So
what time do
a
your
9,
Hoosiers?
a 9 p.m. road tip is just inexcusable.
That's brutal.
It's just ridiculous, unbelievable.
They did change the time zone.
Probably won't even start at 9 because they won't even. They'll be behind in the game before them on the Big Ten network, so it'll be like 9:15. Have to go to a different channel. I mean, it's gonna be brutal. Last time IU played a game at 9 p.m., they went to like triple overtime, and the game ended at like 12:30.
Oh
so
God,
it's gonna be one of those. It's just gonna be we're already frustrated that the start is so late, and then they're probably gonna play like shit and be down at the half. It's gonna be like, turn the game off.
How about this ratings move by ESPN? Auburn, Arkansas, 2 tournament teams. 2 teams. Arkansas is clamoring to be in the top 25. They win, they're in. 7 o'clock, same time as Kentucky. ESPN 2. Kentucky at South Carolina. ESPN.
That's a mistake. First off, the better game is Illinois Purdue, and that's at 9. That game should be at 7. Should flex Kentucky and South Carolina to like midnight because who cares about that game?
Don't do that, dude. I'm gonna have to be up forever watching this.
It's gonna be a blowout.
Stop it. I'm going to go insane because of this. I've had this fear for like I've circled this one on the schedule silently.
You guys are gonna be fine.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm gonna post this before the game happens.
All right.
I hope people listen to it.
Kentucky covers tonight.
I really hope so. I hope you're right. Let's give one more prediction. Illinois, Purdue. Who do we got? It's a game of the night. At Purdue.
Give me Illinois. I think they're rolling right now. I think that, again, it's hard to shoot on the road against Purdue, but I think if they can shoot the ball well, then I think they're going to be fine, and I think they end up winning.
See, I like Illinois in this game. I just can't find myself sometimes. I can't find myself to bet against Purdue because of how many players they have on their team. Like, they have Jaden Ivey, Travion Williams, Zeki. I always feel weird betting against them, but I know they're not invincible. Like, they can get beat by anybody on any given night. So give me Illinois points. I feel like that's a good medium. Illinois +6. And I think we're gonna win. So our bets for the night. I'm gonna give South Carolina +11.
Really? You're really
Illinois.
Here you go. Just so you
+6.
don't think I'm hedging. I'm gonna put I will put a real bet in right now. Kentucky -11. I'm gonna put Illinois money line. I'm gonna put Indiana to cover the spread of 1 because that's just an easy.
You might as well just take money line at that point.
Well, you get better odds at the spread. And then here's another game. Is there another game that let's do Wisconsin, Michigan State real quick. Who you got?
Wisconsin +4.
Really?
Yes, I hate Michigan State. They're not good. At least Wisconsin has Johnny Davis.
No, give me Michigan State. Coming off a bad loss, they're gonna be fine. Plus 1531 for the parlay bettors out there. Michigan State money line, Indiana spread, Illinois money line, Kentucky spread. Lock it in.
Thanks for joining me, Connor. I'm really scared about tonight. I need to get this posted, and I gotta get to some classes. But thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for listening. We've had a crazy few weeks of college basketball. This year is so much better than last. It's so much better than last year, and I'm having a blast with this. So, Connor, thank you. Thank you guys. Like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts, preferably 5 stars. And other than that, yeah, love you guys.